Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me again today. My name is Lexie, and my goodness, has it been so long since I have recorded a podcast episode? I think it's been maybe over 3 or 4 months, maybe even 5, since I've recorded an episode, and I've missed it quite a bit. As you can see, my entire layout has changed if you're watching on YouTube. Definitely massive changes have been happening in my life, but I couldn't be happier right now, and I've definitely healed a lot more than what I have in my last episodes. So to move on to the subject of this episode, start of season 2, episode 1, I just wanted to dive into healing from burnout. Now, this is a subject that I think a lot of people talk about, but not necessarily know how to deal with. So, burnout necessarily is the ideology of a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. So that entire definition is basically like the perfect explanation as to what burnout is. Burnout can sometimes feel like you have no energy for absolutely anything. It's like you go to work and you feel drained entirely. You feel like you can't do anything else other than like lay down, do nothing involving excessive brain work activity. Like, it's the ideology that if you were to read a book, let's say, sometimes that takes a lot of mental energy. Or if you had to do an assignment, that takes a lot of mental energy. So burnout is the whole idea that you genuinely just can't do anything. And as someone with autism and ADHD, autistic burnout can definitely feel almost even more intense, but also more common in my everyday life. I definitely go through autistic burnout quite often, especially considering I work full-time hours. So it's one of those things that I experience on a very weekly basis, I would say. Some people go through it very long periods of time. Some people go through it just for a day. It really depends on who you are, what did you do, if you have autism, if you have any other type of mental disability that can even strain yourself from moving on quicker, if that makes sense. So today's topic, highly requested on my Instagram story from you guys, was healing from burnout, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I just wanted to point out that there isn't one specific way to heal from burnout. Burnout is very much of like a personal thing, and I would say that it definitely depends on personal preferences, personal struggles. It's not a collective thing. So some of the things that I might say won't help you, and I am also not a medical professional or a psychologist of any kind. I am only a spiritual healer and a mental health speaker. Therefore, I can only provide what I know helps a collective and helps a person struggling with certain things such as autism and ADHD there, because I have those two things. So just want to put that out there. So also wanted to say that it's really important that when you're doing those things to be really kind to yourself, because burnout is one of those things that you may feel like you're not a functioning human being because you just feel like you have to sleep in bed all day. You can't do anything else other than sleep in bed all day. Or just watch a movie and not do any of the chores that you were planning on doing, or you go to work and you literally can't function and your mind is shut off. I just want to put that out there that it's so important to just be kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself is so important in everyday life, but especially when you're going through something like this where you don't feel like a functioning human being, if that makes sense. So throughout every single time that you go through a burnout, please ensure that you are speaking to yourself with kind words and intentions, because it's definitely not an easy feat. So I did mention that those with autism sometimes experience burnout a bit more intensely. It can lead to long-term burnout. It can also lead to just like intense feelings of depression, if that makes sense. And I know that's a general thing when it comes to burnout, but it's hard to explain because I find when it comes to autistic burnout, it's one of those things that like it's from overstimulation, but very easy overstimulation, because some things that neurotypicals might not find overstimulating, us autistics. That's a funny word, autistics. Anyways, us autistics would find it overwhelming. So it's really important to be kind to us neurodivergent folks, because some of the things that you may not find draining, we find excessively draining. So moving on, the steps that I usually take when I go through a certain overwhelming experience is usually, first what I do is I do a body check-in or a mental check-in. So I listen to my body intensely. If I feel like I'm going through a burnout of any kind, I first try and pinpoint where in my body I feel it. Do I feel it in my brain? Do I feel it in my shoulders, my hips, and it may sound interesting, but I'm someone that follows the 7 chakras very, very seriously. And pinpointing pain in your body and stress and almost this like, not nervous energy, but almost this like weird tension in certain points of your body can kind of pinpoint where you had a certain amount of like excessive burnout from certain stimuli. Like if I felt a lot of burnout in my third eye chakra, I would say that I've been just exposed to a lot of mental stimulation. If I have a lot of burnout in my throat chakra, I feel like I've been either speaking too much or speaking wrongly of myself. Like there's certain things that won't apply to that theory, but it's really important, even in general, if you are not spiritual, to just listen to your body very well and take care of the areas that feel a bit more tense, especially your brain, because our brain is our most powerful tool, right? So see what you can do, listen to your body, listen to your brain cues and your body cues, and expand on that idea. Next thing I would say is eat your comfort foods. Don't force yourself to make this extravagant meal if you don't feel like you need it. Don't force yourself to do these crazy things when it comes to food. If you want to order yourself a pizza, do it. If you want to have a slice of cake because that's the only thing that you want to eat, do it. It's hard because we have this whole idea in our heads that we need to be healthy and only healthy foods and balance every day and blah, 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 blah. Like, I hate that so much. Healthy is about balance. If you need comfort food that day while you're going through burnout or however long you're going through burnout, that's fine. Just make sure that you eat whatever foods that you're craving and be, again, kind to yourself. That's going to be like the main topic of today's podcast. Another thing to do is please don't do any big brain activities. Allow your mind to just settle and calm down, because burnout is one of those things that if you're going through burnout, you don't want to be doing all these crazy activities. You don't want to be doing, you don't want to be doing that assignment that you have due next week. You don't want to be doing, going out getting your groceries. Anything that involves mental activity, but like excessive mental activity, you don't want to be doing those. So do activities that you know calms your brain. So sometimes people will tell me that reading calms their brain, but other people say that reading actually is excessive for their brain and they don't like it. So please do what you feel like you need to do in order to relax your mind and settle your brain. Watch a comfort movie. I don't know. Go for a walk. If you don't feel like walking, sit on the couch and stare at the ceiling. I don't know. Just do things that relax your mind and don't involve a lot of like excess energy, if that makes sense. Take as many naps as you need. Now, I think a lot of people underestimate the power of sleep. Sleep actually prolongs longevity in your life, so you need a good amount of sleep. And when you're going through burnout, sometimes, depending on who you are, it can be really difficult for you to fall asleep because you're so tired that you can't fall asleep. And it just happens. So I would say that if you are tired throughout the day, don't shy away from taking a nap. Like, naps are okay, naps are important. It just means that you're following what your body is telling you to do and what you feel like your body needs, you know? So take as many naps as you need. Again, be kind to yourself. Ensure that there is the least amount of sensory stimuli around you as possible. I cannot stress this enough, okay? I have to say this. If you hear a chirp in the background, I have a bird. So make sure that the sensory stimuli that you have around you is soft. It's not too much light, not too much noise. Do whatever you need to do in order to have a balanced amount of sensory stimuli around you. Because when you're going through burnout, it's really easy to just like sink into this weird ideology that like you need to stay like focused, and like you're being hard on yourself, and it's like, okay, like I'm not being a functional human being, therefore I need to like force myself. Don't force yourself. If you need to sit alone in the dark for hours, do it. Like, if you need to have no noise, you need to put earplugs in, headphones, I don't know, do it. Don't shy away from accommodating your needs, right? Because that's the whole concept of being kind to yourself, right? Lastly, I'm just gonna say, when it comes to burnout, take it one step at a time. I think we as human beings really, really emphasize hustle culture. I don't believe in hustle culture because hustle culture insinuates that we have to be on point every 2 seconds, no breaks, no time for self-care. It's like, okay, if you're sleeping or if you're relaxing, don't do that. Go and get up and get a second job or a third job or a fourth source of income. Like, calm down, okay? Hustle culture, we are not meant for hustle culture. Us human beings, as long as you focus on the balance between the two, then you will be okay, all right? Some days will be harder than others, and some days will be easier than others, and that's why progress isn't linear. So if you have a job and you are working, making money, but then the next day you feel really burnt out and tired and can't do anything, you are human. You are human, and that is okay. And I know us with our lovely neurodivergency, it can be difficult to admit sometimes that it's okay to go through things like that because your brain is different than others, my friends. Your brain is a special chemical neurological development imbalance between neurotypicals and neurodivergents. It's just different. And even if you are neurotypical listening to this podcast, even if you go through a burnout, it is okay for you to put yourself first and not hustle constantly. Gen Z has a lovely, lovely way of trying to enforce hustle culture. I don't like it. So, just want to put it out there that I love you. If you haven't been told that today, I hope that really resonates with you. You are worthy of everything that comes your way. You are enough and you are heard, all right? And I hope that this podcast helped. Again, I am not a medical professional. I am only a spiritual healer and mental health speaker. I can only give out things that may or may not help and words of affirmation that ensures that you do not feel alone when it comes to going through burnout. So that is my podcast. season 2, episode 1 for you guys. I hope that you truly, truly enjoyed it and that it really helped in some way or another. There will be multiple episodes coming soon. I know there have been quite a few requests actually in my Instagram DMs of different episodes that you'd like for me to talk about, or topics, I should say. English is not working today. And yeah, I love you all. And thank you so much for the constant support on my Instagram and the DMs that I've been receiving. It's really heartwarming. So I hope you loved this podcast, and I will be talking to you guys soon. I love you all, and see you later.